the guy that actually... See, when you look at all these stealers in our Puranas, they are not ordinary people. A Hiranyaksha, Somukha, Narakasura, all these are not Ravanasura. They are not ordinary people. Ravana knew the entire Vedas in and out. In fact, Ravana was the one that actually instilled Agama Shastra, which is today used to build all the temples and the proper way of building temples. All of that is created by Ravana. Yesterday, all of you celebrated the death of another great guy, Narakasura. Huh? He is another great stealer. He is not an ordinary stealer. He is an incredibly powerful stealer. Narakasura, what did he steal? Yes? Huh. Yeah, so a lot of people celebrate because it's very nice to celebrate with all the lights and all the pomp and story. But if you really understand what is the spiritual significance of the story of Narakasura and how this festival actually was celebrated and why it was celebrated, I'll briefly tell the story of Narakasura. Narakasura was born to Adi Varaha and Mother Earth. They were his mother and father. You know who Adi Varaha is? The Varaha Swami that actually had killed another stealer who stole the earth. And that was Hiranyaksha. He stole the Mother Earth. And before that he came as the fish because somebody else stole the Vedas. That guy was not an ordinary guy. He stole the Vedas and he took it inside, deep inside, so that nobody can have access to it. God says Vedas cannot be possessed by one person. God therefore had to go kill him and release the Vedas so that they are available for everybody else. What is the significance of this? The significance of this is that to whom it is given is from whom much is expected. If Swami gave you wealth, he gave you wealth because you will share it with others. If Swami gave you knowledge, it is because you will share it with others. If Swami gave you power, he gave it to you because you will help others. If Swami gave you great family, because you will be able to go beyond your own and help other families. So, even Vedas, when the guy took it and hidden it underneath, God has to go in the form of fish, kill him and release the Vedas. What this means is, many people think, I have a lot of knowledge, let it keep it with me. I don't need to tell anybody about it. No. But they also look at the people that talk about Vedas and say, Amma, what arrogance this guy has that he's talking about Vedas. No, no, no. It's not about arrogance or anything. When God gives you something, it has to be shared with others. Na choraharyam, na cha rajaharyam, na bhratrubhajyam, na cha bharakari, vyayekrute, vardhata eva nityam, vidyadhanam, sarvadhana pradhanam. The ordinary wealth can be stolen by others. The ordinary wealth can be taxed by governments. The ordinary wealth is shared by brothers when the father and mother die. The ordinary wealth can be spent and it decays and declines. Some of it actually goes up and down with the stock market, funny money. And people look at the paper money and say, oh, I'm rich today, very rich. And next day, oh, I'm poor today. Subject to up and down. That is what ordinary wealth is about. And this wealth has no meaning in its entire content. Absolutely no meaning. Because the meaning of that wealth is given by somebody else, the guy that is doing stock brokering. The meaning of that wealth is not given by anybody else except some stupid fellow sitting in Wall Street. And we go up and down with that guy thinking we are rich one day, we are poor another day. But there is another type of wealth. It cannot be stolen from you. It cannot be taxed by the governments. It cannot be divided by anybody else. Brothers, But the more you spend it, the more it becomes grows and grows and grows. And that wealth is the wealth of knowledge. The more you spend it, the more it grows. So knowledge sharing is so important. If you have something and you keep it with yourself, it has no value. And if this knowledge is given to others, as you empty and empty and empty in service, God gives more and more and more, because He wants to make sure how much you can share. Whether you can spend 10 hours in His service, talking about Him, singing His name, or 15 hours. He wants to test your resolve. And then what happens? As you do it more and more and more, children, remember this, it becomes more and more and more. Today children are taught to protect stuff. When you get into an elevator, nobody even looks at you and smiles nowadays. Have you noticed that? You get into an elevator in a hotel, everybody is like looking at the floor or looking at the ceiling. And I get into the elevator and say, "Good morning, how are you doing?" "Good morning." Because the human being today is afraid of themselves. They cannot even come out and say happily, "Good morning, how are you doing?" Children come across adults. They don't say, "Uncle, good morning, how are you doing?" Everybody is like castor oil face, as if something has fallen apart. Nobody walks in with the energy and love and say, "Good morning, uncle, how are you? Sai Ram, auntie, Sai Ram, uncle." How many children say that? Yeah, you haven't said that to me today. Yeah. So Sai Ram, wake up, yeah, be happy, smiling all the time. No big deal. So the stealers we were talking about, Somukha was a stealer. He was the stealer of the Vedas. Then Hiranyaksha, he stole the entire Mother Earth and he hidden it under the water. Then Varaha has to come kill him because the Mother Earth doesn't belong to him. No. Yesterday I was telling in the satsang about this. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was asked by a devotee, "Does God ever laugh?" He asked him. Very simple question. "Does God ever laugh?" He asked. The devotee asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Then he said, yes, he laughs very heartily when every time the registrar registers and the registrar closes the register. What? What are you talking about? He asked him, "What are you talking about? When the registrar opens and the registrar closes register, God is laughing? What do you mean?" He said, "No, every time they go measure with a tape how much land they possess. From here to here is mine, and from to here is here. And then they're registering, mortgage, everything. God is looking at them, 'Oh, stupid fellow, this land doesn't belong to you. Da. Today you bought this land, yesterday somebody else. 5 years from now, your mortgage will be closing, somebody else will be buying the same land. What you own? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Wyatt, you are very happy, I have a home, the American dream realized. And you are paying money to some stupid bank, you never own anything. What are we talking about, owning anything? So, this is the aspect about what the stealers that are stealing. They are stealing actually what belongs to God. And there are stealers that you know they are stealing.